Special board meeting to order at 5:34 p.m. Board members, as I call your name, please reply present for the record. Trustee King.
Present.
Treasurer Luna.
Present.
Trustee Rutherford.
Present.
Vice President Clack. Absent. Assistant Secretary Treasurer McIntyre.
Present.
Secretary Perkins.
Present.
Myself, President McNeil. We have 6 present, 1 absent. The board will now hear comments from the public. We ask that you state the reason for addressing the board and that you limit your remarks to 3 minutes on matter within the authority of the board and not address individuals by name. The presiding officer of the board should have the right to limit the numbers of persons who may address the board on the same subject. Please state your name and address before speaking. Is there anyone here from the public who wishes to address the board?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Jason Bohr. I work for the Flint Housing Commission. I'm the currently the interim executive director for the Housing Commission. My intent of coming here today, the Housing Commission in the city of Flint received a Choice Neighborhood Planning Grant last December, actually a year and a half ago. And we've been working on a plan to revitalize what we're calling Northeast Flint. So the boundaries are north of Stewart and east of DuPont. So it's quite a large area. It is focusing on both housing, neighborhood improvements, and supportive services for the residents in that Northeast Flint area. It is similar to the Atherton East Clark Commons project that's been undergoing in the city since 2015. This is kind of a new choice neighborhood plan that is being worked on for this North Flint area. It focuses on the River Park public housing property, which is up on Carpenter Road in the northeast corner of the city. So our goal is to rebuild 350 mixed income units throughout that area. Throughout our planning efforts over the last year and a half, we've had a lot of community input on where housing would be suitable. And one of the target areas that has really come through the community events is the MLK and Pearson corridor, because there's so many resources already existing there, and the amenities that can offer people if there's new housing in that area. Obviously, we are also looking at building new housing in the River Park area, rebuilding that housing, not rehabbing that property. So in these areas, there's a lot of resources, and obviously the school is a vital part of a solid community. So in the River Park area up on Carpenter Road, there has been a lot of discussion about the desire to utilize the Carpenter Road Elementary School, which is not in use, as a potential resource center for the community, whether it's adult ed, early ed, or any other kind of community resource for the residents of that area. The drawing that I've provided you here is that MLK and Pearson area. As I mentioned, there's so many resources there. You have the St. Agnes property, you have a grocery store of Landmark that's there, and Claire Hilborn Park, and of course your property that the school board owns of Bryant Junior High and the former Pearson Elementary. So the drawing I provided you shows what we are proposing to submit to HUD as a plan, and this is just a plan. That would include building new housing on the school board's property. And I ask that you would, in the coming year, as we go after an implementation grant, the school board would look to support this effort. And I'm free to take any more questions that you have.
Usually, during public comment, we don't answer question back and forth. They're just stated in our policy. However, what we could do, I think we're planning on due treasurer having a vacant property or discussion coming up pretty soon, and we can proceed then. But normally, because we're going to go into a closed door session, we won't be doing question and answer. But great project, and you got your contact number?
Yes. And
will-
I do have business cards I can provide.
Yes, and pass it to her, and then we will have a further discussion. But right now, we're going to go into closed session.
I understand.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Board member, excuse me, sir. Mr. Jason. Board member, at this time, I need a motion and a second to go into closed session regarding the purchase or lease of property.
Madam President,
Yes.
I make a motion that we go into closed session about the vacant properties.
Support.
It has been properly moved and second that we meet in closed session. Board member, when I call your name, please say yes or no. Treasurer Luna?
Yes.
Trustee Rutherford?
Yes.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Vice President Clark is absent. Trustee McIntyre?
Yes.
Secretary Perkins?
Yes.
And myself, yes, 6 yes, 1 absent. Board member, we are now to meet in closed session. Please go to the room behind our table. Keep in mind, your electronic devices should be off in closed session. Seeing no further business of the board, I declare the special board meeting adjourned at 6:40. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for the delay. I would like to call the Flint Board of Education regular board meeting to order at 6:50 p.m. Wait a minute, hold on. What time you got? 6:40 p.m. Board members, I call your name. Please reply present for the record. Trustee King.
Present.
Treasurer Luna.
Present.
Trustee Rutherford. Vice President Clack.
Present.
Assistant Secretary Treasurer McIntyre. Secretary Perkins.
Present.
Myself present. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to say present, and we have one board member is away from her desk. I will call upon Secretary Perkins to read the district mission statement and first statement in the standard of practice.
District mission statement. It is the mission of the Flint School District to develop a community of learners who are prepared to live, work, and contribute in an ever-changing society. The Flint Board of Education standards of practice in order to provide outstanding leadership and better serve the Flint community schools. We, the members of the Flint Board of Education, commit to the following standards of practice. Number 1, we will be consistent in our dealings with each other, as well as students, staff, and community.
We will model trustworthiness and honesty in our relationships with each other, with our superintendent, and with our constituents.
We will focus on common goals of providing the best education possible for the students in the Flint Community Schools.
We will respect the diverse views that each of us brings to the organization, as well as the views of others that we interact with as we carry out the business of the Board of Education.
We will be open and authentic with each other, our staff, and community.
As we work to make decisions, we will focus on issues and not personalities.
Our decisions will be student-centered and based on objective facts.
We will practice good listening skills to better understand our fellow Board of Education members and constituents.
Thank you, Secretary Perkins. I seek a motion and second to approve the minutes from the September 11, 2024 Committee of the Whole meeting and the September 18, 2024 regular board meeting. I seek a motion and second to accept the minutes.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I make a motion to accept the minutes from September, 11th and 18th, 2024 board meetings.
Support.
Are there any corrections? Seeing none, the motion to approve the minutes from the September 11, 2024 Committee of the Whole meeting and the September 18, 2024 regular board meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. As I call your name, say yes or no to approve the motion. Secretary Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee McIntyre?
Yes.
Vice President Clack?
Yes.
Trustee Rutherford?
Yes.
Trustee King? Yes. Treasurer Luna?
Yes.
And myself, yes. 7 yes, 0 no. The board will now hear comments from the public. We ask that you state the reason for addressing the board and that you limit your remarks to 3 minutes on matters with the authority of the board and not address individuals by name. The presiding officer of the board should have the right to limit the number of persons who may address the board on the same subject. Please state your name and address first before beginning to speak. Is there anyone here from the public who wishes to address the board? Proceed. Thank you.
Pastor Allen Gilbert. I live at 1906 McPhail Street, former board member. First of all, I'd like to address Dr. McNeil and to Superintendent Jones and to all the board members, Ms. Shelley, Ms. Jones, Ms. Pam. I wanted to come before you somewhat reluctant, but it needs to be said, so I've never been one to be afraid to say what was on my mind. And the first thing that I want to say is to the board is the empty schools, they have become a problem. The one in Stewart is quite a ways from me in my neighborhood. It's an old neighborhood, Lapeer Park, Oakwood Manor, between Lippincott and Lapeer Road, 12th Street and Dort Highway, and the lake. And Stewart School is just in shambles. You have the power, you have to act, you have to decide, and then you have to execute. I want to admonish you to do that. And you made a lot of progress, and I'm so proud of what you have done. But there are more that needs to be done. And that particular situation of Stewart School, we got gangs, they shoot up all night long, and we have several seniors in our community that are over 95 years of age. Now, if they come and shoot at where I live, there's going to be a real problem. But by the help of the Lord, I'm going to pray for them first. That's what I'm going to do. So, what I'm saying to the board is that we need you to decide, as only you have the power to do, and that decisions be made to either destroy the buildings, bulldoze them, tear them down, board them up. And I know it takes money. I know it takes manpower. Somebody has to decide, though. And if a decision's not made, then the community, the citizens that pay the taxes, they are left with the bag. That's the problem. The solution is we have to act. Now, you may act, and I may not like what you do, but I look for you to act. Maybe not today, maybe not next week, maybe not by January the 15th or January the 21st, but I look for you to act. And so in saying that, there's a whole lot of things I wanted to say, but the Holy Ghost just won't let me say it. So I know that I'm not supposed to say it. I just want to build you up, admonish you. We have a good superintendent. Continue to work with him and be one team, because that's what it's going to take. It's okay to disagree, but you don't have to be disagreeable. And so, thank you for listening to an old preacher.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? At this time, I would like to ask Principal O, I'm just going to say O, and Chief Dan to join us on the stage for information regarding the NJROTC program and to answer any question the board may have.
Good evening. It's nice to see everybody tonight. And please feel free to refer to me as Mr. O, and this is Chief Przybylinski. You can call him Chief.
Okay, Chief, proceed.
So I wanted to, board members, you know, as we're bringing on another teacher, we wanted to make sure that the board members had an audience to learn more about the program. And so in light of last week's meeting, it was a thought to have you all come forward just to talk about the program and maybe answer some quick questions from the board. We don't want to keep you long, but I want to make sure the board is pleased with the decision they need to make tonight.
We are always happy to talk about positive programs happening at Southwestern.
All right. So talk to us a little bit about the ROTC program.
NJROTC, National Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps, is a nationally recognized program which is developed through the Navy, so it's in concert with the United States military. And when I arrived at Southwestern, the program had a long-standing tradition of being part of the Flint Community Schools, but the program was in pretty steep decline. So we were very lucky to find Chief, who came on board with us in 2021, and we have managed to turn the program around under his leadership and his guidance. We now boast fully 98 cadets in the program. The expectation is that we would have 10% of our student population participating, and our scores have been rising. We are held accountable. The program is held accountable through the Navy, and the commander is out of Chicago. They do a regular evaluation of the program. And we are just very pleased that the cadets are leaders within the building. They wear their uniforms with pride. They represent us well, they represent the community well, and it helps to teach our students discipline, and it helps them to take pride and to take leadership roles in the school and throughout the community.
Board members, do you have any questions? Any questions? There was a question about how do those scholars receive their uniforms? Is it something that they have to pay for personally, or is it some help or supply resource money that come in to support the students?
No, Superintendent. So the way that the program works is the Navy funds everything. One of the benefits to the school district also is that they get a teacher for half the price. So the Navy covers half of my salary with it. The new instructor that's coming on board, if we get him approved, his salary would be also covered half by the Navy. They cover half the salary. Everything with the program is also covered by the Navy. When it comes to buses, activities, field trip, volunteer, uniforms, everything is covered by the Navy. Nothing comes out of the school district's pocket when it comes to that. I do want to talk a little bit about one thing. Along with the program, we go over leadership, accountability, focus, study, health, fitness. There's so much. I have a list that would probably take all day to go through everything that the program entails. But the biggest thing about this program is it's a safe place. So even though we have 98 kids in this program, we have about 150 kids that are in the school out of 490 that want to be in my class. So when the board is around watching the students walking around the school, when you guys visit the school, if you see students that are in Navy shirts, there's a good chance they're in my class, but there's also a good chance that they're not, because there's a lot of students that actually have Navy shirts right now that their friends are sharing with them because they want to be in my class, but we don't have enough room. With one instructor, 98 students over the day is a lot. I would love to take every single student, but I don't have the space for it. Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
You say somebody has a shirt on?
Oh, yeah, they're all
How does that happen?
because they're sharing it with their friends. They're
So
sharing
how
it
many
with-
shirts do they get, will they receive?
One, yes.
So at one time, the student was in your class, they received a shirt, so they're no longer in the class?
That happens, it does.
Okay, I was the one who asked about the maintenance of the uniforms as it relates to dry cleaning,
Okay.
and then also haircuts or twisties, locks, however they wear their hair. Where, is there any type of funding to assist a family with that?
Yes. So with dry cleaning, we can get the uniforms dry cleaned through our funds. With the
Okay.
haircut, we have had some issues with the students cutting their hair, and the Navy has backed off a lot on that. So no, they will not provide funding for haircuts. But with the hair, the Navy has backed off a lot on those standards because you have to have a haircut like me to be in the military at the minimum. But a lot of the students aren't willing to cut their hair. So looking at this program more of a mentorship standard than just the military standard, that is a lot that we focus on.
Help me, I'm gonna repeat what I heard you say. The military required that your hair is cut a certain way.
True.
However, you're allowing the students to not wear their hair a certain way, but participate.
Because the program's not about pushing them into the military, they're not soldiers, sailors, what they are is high school students. So we don't push those standards on them. We try to influence them to get the haircut, but at the end of the day, I'm not able to do that because they're not soldiers or sailors where I can hold them accountable to that.
And I would also point out, when the program is evaluated, we haven't received a decrease in scoring because of the students.
I guess for me, I'm looking at being defiant. And just society doesn't work that way. And school is dress rehearsal for the world. And if you're going to be a part of ROTC, I just see military. That is you saying, I would like to be a part of this, so therefore, I don't want you to adjust the rules. I'll meet the criteria. So for me, I just see a lot of our students that are given a pass to be defiant, and when they leave school, they think the real world will allow them to be defiant.
Right, and one thing that I would consider in this situation is we are based on numbers with this program. So if we don't meet the minimum requirement for how many students we have, the program goes away anyways. The vote that we're trying to have wouldn't even matter. So with the students that we have right now that have the haircut issues, I have talked with the Navy over and over again about this because it has been an issue. But we're also working with one school. So if we compare us to, let's say, GCI that has an Army program, they're pulling from probably 15, 20 different schools, right? So they can make those standards and they can hold them accountable to that where they don't have to cut their hair. But with us, I push, I try to influence, but at the end of the day, they're high school students. They're not soldiers or sailors. I can't make them. So
I guess maybe I'm not saying it correctly. Even if you could just pull their hair back.
oh, they do.
So you did say that. So I guess for me, I don't care about numbers. I care about quality. So if they're in this program, I would like them to get the best that they can get instead of just being a number, because you're preparing them for the future, if you will. And there's nothing like a soldier, because they transform it. You know, they leave a boy and come back a man. So that's what, when I saw ROTC, that was just my mindset. But I just wanted to make sure that if a student was involved in that the district was able to assist them in maintaining a clean uniform and the appearance of a ROTC officer or student or trainee, whatever the title is. Thank you, though.
If they want to get their haircut, we can always help them out by probably talking to GCI too, because the Navy won't give us funding for the haircut. But we have different options that we can do with the haircut.
Thank you.
So I want to thank you for coming forward and for answering questions. I really appreciate it. I just want to make it clear where I stand as a citizen and as a community member and as a parent. As I've stated before, I am an abolitionist and a pacifist, pretty much. So I have an issue with the military-industrial complex, especially with its overlap with the educational system. Now, I do respect the work that you're doing and the program, especially because it's driven by student interests, and as you were saying, there's more interest of students who want to take this, and I respect that. And to be transparent, I did teach at the MCRD and the 32nd Street Military Base in San Diego. So it's not as if I have a hard and fast, like, oh my gosh, this is, what the rules are. I understand the complexities and the nuances. And some of the best students I've ever had have been Navy SEALs. I mean, obviously, but to get into that program, you have to be highly qualified, highly intelligent. They're some of the most critical thinkers I've ever seen. But we are in a very unique situation and a unique community. And I want us just to be mindful and to just make sure that we have all programs for our students, including if the students want, if the families want ROTC. But I also would like to see Montessori programs. I would also like to see dual enrollment. I would also like to see a plethora. I would like to see us being able to offer everything so that students have a choice. And I also would like students to develop critical faculties along with literacy, reading, writing, calculation, logic. And I understand that that's not necessarily opposed to an ROTC program. I do understand that, like I said, I did teach in the military, so I understand that it's not mutually exclusive. So I do want to thank you. I do want to support that. I just wanted to clarify my position and just to make a statement to the public to make it absolutely clear that we are not promoting a school-to-prison pipeline. Because ideologically and theoretically, military-industrial complex, ROTC, those kind of things are inextricably linked. So just so that we're aware and mindful.
I don't agree with you. I spent 21 years in the service, and I'm sorry, but I don't like how you're saying that they're all tied together.
I
The
said,
military is not tied with the prison system.
excuse me,
and-
sir, I do have the floor, and I appreciate, like I said, I appreciate your input. I said that they are inextricably linked.
They're not.
That's a little bit different from what you've characterized what I've said. Like I said, I am an instructor at the university level and do have a fair amount of expertise in this area in particular. So as a community member, I just wanted to make sure that I state this out loud so that we can have both. It can be and. We can have ROTC and these other things. But to make sure that we always have a critical faculty. Not all criticism is negative. We need to have constructive criticism, and that's really the best thing for an educational system, and that's what I want. I want us to have the highest quality, the highest caliber. So it can be an and situation, not an or situation. So thank you, thank you.
Thank you,
Ms. McIntyre, just a point of clarification, please. And I would share with the board that I am the son of a veteran of the Navy. And right now, I have a nephew who is serving on a nuclear submarine in the Navy. I did not serve in the military, but having grown up, I also have a brother who is a career airman with the Air Force. I chose a path of service with students in the classroom. And I just want to make sure that we can clear the air on this. You're not casting aspersions on the Navy as an institution. You're not casting aspersions on what individuals who've chosen a life of service are pursuing.
Correct.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Correct. What I'm a theorist and, yeah.
Understood.
Thank you very much. Trustee King.
Thank you for the work that you do with our scholars. Thank you for your leadership, Mr. O. Continue to do great things. Thank you.
Thank you.
I said one comment too.
Trustee Luna, then trustee Perkins.
Yeah. Number one, I think it's very unique for us to have growing pains in our schools because of the enrollment declining, so that's a good thing. So I'm glad the kids are excited about the program. Number two, I think you mentioned this earlier, but do we know, do we have any data of how your students are doing compared to other students when it comes to their academic success and outcomes? And if you don't, that's fine, but I'd assume if they're so engaged in this that they want to learn more and do better in school, and then when they graduate, whether it's skilled trades, college, military service, whatever, that they'd probably be enthused to do that more than students who aren't doing your program.
Yes, sir. So I don't have those statistics that you're asking for right now, but I do have something that goes along the same lines as that. I have 4 students that are on student council for the school, different grade levels because I do take 9th through 12th grade.
Yeah.
And they are involved in a lot of the community stuff the active stuff that's within the school. But that's one statistic that I can tell you. I do have 4 that are on student council right now.
And you don't have to take that from me. I would assume that they would be more excited about learning and doing service within their community. So I'm happy to hear that we have that program and
Yes,
it's kind of at capacity or over capacity, really.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I had a nephew that was in ROTC, and it gave him the best demeanor, if you will. Regulations, and it just made him a better person, in my opinion. My daughter, who's a teacher at Southwestern, is an Army veteran. So we've got and I got a nephew right now, and 2 of them in the Air Force. So, and my dad was Navy, by the way. So, but anyway, how many women girls do you have in the program, or do you have any?
Do we have that stat?
I don't have that stat, but I have about 60% of my students are female.
Oh, okay.
I have more females than I do males right now, but it had a lot to do with the transition from us taking some of our students to ALA. I lost a lot of students this year. So, yeah, I have a lot of females right now. I don't have the stats.
Okay, thank you.
But I have enough uniform for them, too.
Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you for your time.
Happy to be here. Thank you so much for having us, and we really look forward to your continued support at Southwestern. Thank you.
Great job.
Before you
Great
go, you have an end of the year program. You have something that you do at the end of the year. I remember last year we were in a gym.
That's
and
right.
they did their thing, right? I would love for the board to be able to be invited to see that, and hopefully we can get that videotaped as well to put out there so that others can see.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. It'll be February 4th.
February 4th.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. So we'll get that information to the Board of Education.
Fantastic.
All right.
Look forward to seeing you all. Take care.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Now, I would like to ask Ms. Field to join us for the information regarding the dual enrollment program and to answer any question the board may have.
It's a pleasure to be back, Board. I was gone for a couple weeks. I was
Yes.
sick one week, and then I had the extraordinary opportunity to go to Tulsa, Oklahoma to work with our REACH program, which is at two of our locations in our district, and we were able to visit the site of the Tulsa massacre and view Black Wall Street. It was a really wonderful experience, so I appreciated, I was missed, I heard, and that you guys needed some additional information, but I was certainly glad to be able to participate in the conference that I did.
So what we would like, Ms. Fields, is just, give the board a brief overview of where we are with dual enrollment.
Absolutely.
And then if there's any questions, board members, please
So
do
I
ask.
provided for you tonight a crosswalk, it's just a very quick over about some information about dual enrollment and how it works, not just by the state's expectations, but also by the district's policy as it pertains to dual enrollment. I anticipate that we will be bringing in our first November meeting. We received the finished final agreement from the Memorandum of Understanding from U of M Flint to be able to enter into agreement with them with the Dual Enrollment Enhanced Program. They have provided for us the opportunity to have students, of which we have 18 identified students that are at Southwestern, that will be undergoing an orientation at the time that we enter into contract with them. In that dual enrollment eligible students, some of the things that they are doing to make sure that we have equity and opportunity for all students that would be interested in the dual enrollment enhanced program is to waive the criteria for the entrance and compass exam, that they will go ahead and they will take consideration for students that are non-traditional. In addition to that, they provided for us a 35% discount, I think, on tuition cost, which brings us to about $762 an hour, I think credit hour if I'm not mistaken. We also have been identifying funds to go ahead and cover the additional costs that would normally go on parents. Parents would end up having the responsibility of some of those charges, registration, books, and additional tuition costs that the parents could incur, as the state of Michigan has a lot of rules around how dual enrollment works and around FTEs. So our FTEs would go ahead and they would transfer with the student. I think it's like 1/3 of their FTE would go over to U of M Flint. The rest of that, their opportunity would be covered by 31A funds, which is set aside for students that characteristically are at risk and would not normally have those opportunities. So any additional cost would be absorbed in 31A. In addition to that, they will be providing for us a tutor on Fridays because the students would have a 4-day week with them. They would have 2 hours each day, Monday and Wednesday, where they would be engaging in one course of their choice. And then the Tuesday, Tuesday, Thursday, they would be in their other 2-hour class for the week. On Fridays, they will be providing for us a tutor that would sit with those students during the time that they would normally be in class because they wouldn't have class on Fridays. And that tutor would be supporting them along with the college advisor that is at Southwestern. The other things that the dual enrollment enhanced program provides for our students is full access to all university resources, all of them. They would have gym memberships, they would be able to have access to the libraries, to certain lectures, to certain activities that they would be able to be part of. And they're also offering us options for the students would be able to receive college and high school credit to satisfy the Michigan merit. Some of the benefits to the district that the dual enrollment enhanced program provides for us is that it helps to provide those higher rigor courses and those opportunities that Ms. McIntyre had lifted. And in addition to that, it also helps to relieve some of the funding and some of the shortages that we have at the high school in some of the gaps that we would have in being able to offer our students instruction by a professor. One of the other things that we are piloting, hopefully for next year, you'll see on page 2, it's in the works for 25-26. We are looking to pilot a very specific program that will not be coming to your table for probably another couple of months. The anticipation is that the dual enrollment enhanced program, or otherwise known as DEEP, that we would be introducing that MOU for agreement and assignment in November, and that we would have kids that would start classes in this coming semester in January. For next year, we are looking to go ahead and phase in a very special program. It's very unique. It would be offered at ALA. We're looking to identify 4 professors that are at U of M Flint, working with Dr. Suzanne Knight, and we would be first bringing 4 instructors over to ALA that would be taking kind of a 1-credit College 101 course. That course would take place at ALA's location, and it would be able to provide help and support to students that otherwise may not always be successful, and providing them the skills that they could use to be successful in post-secondary programs. The idea would then be, once we found out what students were successful in that program, that they also would have waived entrance requirements, and that they would enroll in an 18 credit per professional program that is offered at U of M Flint. And students that would successfully complete that 18 credit program, it would start in the probably junior year, senior year, and then they would end post-secondary with, I think, 1 year to go, and then post them completing the program, that we would be able to possibly employ some of those students that could work for Flint Community Schools and become paraprofessionals for our district. We're hoping that that could even grow into the possibility of finding kids that are scholars that are interested in becoming teachers, and maybe best building the opportunities for those young people to become teachers as well. Whew, I didn't even breathe.
Are there any more questions, comments? Trustee McIntyre?
Thank you for this. You know that it's a subject dear to my heart, and I've really been pushing for this, you know, given that all the other school districts have it and we just don't. There's a couple of things that I'm concerned about the cost to the families. I'd like to explore ways further that those costs would be even more minimized, because you said...
If I could, there will be no cost to the families. The plan is to have 31A absorb any additional cost. It is an allowable cost with 31A.
Gotcha.
And in addition to that, we will be providing transportation for the students to and from, which can also be a 31A expenditure that we can put towards 31A.
Okay, so then I misheard
Yeah,
when you said 65,
there's
35.
absolutely
Okay.
no cost. Normally, with other school districts, Trustee McIntyre, there is a cost that they do have to pay. And the university has been very, very proactive in helping us to figure that out and helping us to figure out how we can get that done, in addition to our business department and our grant folks that have also, we've partnered with to look at what would be the best way to be able to offer this and make sure that our families don't incur the cost.
Okay, all right. So I just wanted to make sure that that was the way that it was structured, because I know that that's how it was in the past.
Yep.
And I do know that other school districts do have to pay like a nominal
Yeah.
amount, but that Flint schools did not, that there was, because we do have resources, given that we're, underprivileged, or however that you want to, categorize us. The one thing, well, there were a couple of things that I just want to make sure of, and I know moving forward that this is like a different time, this is a different board, this is a different administration, and so I am confident that I am talking to, open ears about this, and this probably isn't even going to be an issue. But the last time we did have dual enrollment, there was not a very good culture of support around it. There was an attitude that was very negative towards the families, the parents, this kind of attitude that they weren't good enough, that they didn't support, that there wasn't a college culture. And I'm confident moving forward that we can address the whole family. I would like to encourage you, maybe if you haven't already thought about having family support for the whole family. I kind of knew you probably would already be thinking about that.
We're actually working through something with family support right now, and I'm working with Dr. Knight, who you're familiar with, and who
Yes.
has a very, very big heart for Flint Community Schools. And she is working tirelessly and has been to be able to make this program work successfully, and not just for the for Flint kids, but Flint families. And in addition to that, we're even being intentional about, she's seeking ways to make sure that the instructors are sensitive to the needs of our community and our families as well. Those, one of the reasons why we're waiting until next year to be able to get the ALA pilot off the ground is because we want to make sure that the professors that we bring over to ALA have the appropriate biases have been addressed, that there is consideration of, you know, diversity, equity, and inclusivity. And those are things that she holds very, very dear to her heart as well. And she's been a great partner to work with.
Dr. Knight is fantastic.
Yep.
And so I do want to give a shout out to her for her tireless effort to, you know, to promote this. So I'm glad that we've got a new team. It's like a fresh start. In the past, the instructors weren't, it was more the structure of U of M and the departments that had the cultural incompetency. In my opinion, the instructors were pretty on board, you know, and knew what was going on. So another obstacle, though, was, like, for example, the transportation needed to be coordinated a little bit more smoothly. Supplemental materials needed to be more timely. Could we have a peer mentoring process instead of having like a student instructor from U of M? That was always a problem because nobody wanted to do student teaching for an hour a week. It just wasn't, you know, it wasn't financially viable to like come to the schools, get paid for an hour, and then, you know what I mean? It wasn't, nobody wanted to have that job. So can we do like peer, maybe have jobs where students like tutor one another, because that's
One of the things that I've been looking into and that I haven't gotten off the ground quite yet is looking at alumni that has been out, you know, that's been at U of M Flint, and that also has had dual enrollment experiences to be able to come back and volunteer time to work with students as well. I'm very, very, very optimistic about the ability of our college advisor over there to be able to also help to build this program to success. But we have a very, very large number of people right now that are working to make sure that this is something that our students can benefit from and that they can make their way through. I'm not going to even sugarcoat that there have been times when we have had students that have done dual enrollment and they've dropped out of the class within very quick timing. And that we don't want any student to walk into that feeling demoralized and not feeling. We want to make sure they're well prepared, providing transitional opportunities, orientations that will include families leading up to this, and that we make sure that everywhere along the way that we learn and that we grow from anything that challenges or barriers that might come into play.
And just to have the rest of the school, because I know, like, for example, senior exit interviews were just scheduled without regard to, you know, the dual enrollment schedule. And like I said, we have a different administration, we have a different culture now, and so just to have everybody on board with, you know, whether a student is taking ROTC or dual enrollment, just to support all these different choices, whether or not you're involved with them or not. And I think that we have that, you know, as an educational team moving forward. So
I appreciate that, Lift, and if anybody at the table knows better, Superintendent Jones knows that I am a calendar queen. I've got like a matrix of 90 of them just to make sure that everything aligns. I agree, oftentimes what happens, not just with educational institutions, but with our partners as well, there's not a lot of correspondence that happens, and sometimes people will double book things, and there's nothing that's more infuriating when people miss out on an opportunity. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate that lift.
thank you.
Any other questions, board members? Okay, Dr. Jones.
Thank you, Ms. Field.
Thank you for giving the opportunity to talk to you about this today.
Thank you. I now call upon Superintendent Jones to present action items to the board.
Okay. So we're going to move to Resolution 1.10, but before we do, in your packet, board members, there is a particular job personnel recommendation that we are going to omit due to information that our HR department has found that we are unable to really share, but we're going to omit. We're going to omit the LSS homebound, home base administration building position. We're going to omit that from the personnel recommendation tonight.
Thank you.
Okay? Just wanted to make that clear. All right. Okay. So with that stated, I seek a motion and a second from the board to approve Resolution 1.10 with the omission, personnel recommendations. I seek a motion and a second
Madam
from
Chair.
the board.
Madam Chair, I make a motion we approve the personal recommendations.
It's okay.
Second.
It has been properly moved and second. Is there any discussions? Seeing no further discussion, the motion to approve Resolution 1.10 personnel recommendation will be conducted by roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no. Treasurer Luna?
Yes.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Trustee Rutherford?
Yes.
Vice President Clack?
Yes.
Trustee McIntyre?
Yes.
Secretary Perkins?
Yes.
And myself, yes. 7 yes, 0 no.
I seek a motion and a second from the board to approve Resolution 25.9, approval of course catalog 2024-2025.
So moved.
Support.
It was 2569, you said 25.9.
25.6.
You said 25.9.
25.9, so that's a typo.
25.9.
Oh, that's a typo.
Okay, so 25.9, it should not read 25.69. So we'll make that correction.
Okay.
25.9, approval of course catalog 2024, 2025 for tonight's approval.
It's been,
It was only a typo on the paper. We did approve
You said the right thing.
correct.
Okay.
so Laura, you approve, seconded?
It's been approved and seconded.
Okay. It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussions? Seeing no further discussion, a motion to approve resolution number 25.9, approval of course catalog 24 to 25, will be conducted by roll call. Board members, as I call your name, please say yes or no. Secretary Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee McIntyre?
Yes.
Vice President Clack?
Yes.
Trustee Rutherford?
Yes.
Trustee King?
Yes.
Treasurer Luna?
Yes.
And myself, yes. 7 yes, 0 no. Board members, in your packet is the VORTEC monthly update for September. Do any board member have any questions?
Where is that?
It's the last page from VORTEC.
Oh, I see this right
Yeah,
here? Okay, thank you, sorry.
yeah, 2 pieces of papers. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we will have remarks from individual board members.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yeah, I have a comment to make.
Okay, proceed.
Yes. So I want to address 2 things in my board comments. Number 1, I am disappointed that I see similar districts and schools within the county with similar demographics, but not
We
just in
can't
this.
hear you. Can't hear
Is that better?
you. Yes.
Okay. I'm disappointed that I see similar districts with similar student demographics and similar teacher shortage needs take advantage of different programs that, number 1, help teacher pay, help with their professional development, and also, at the very end, better serve students. I know that this new Teach Michigan initiative has been around for about 2 years. It's been funded by the state's behind it. And I would hope that next school year, or even before this school year ends, that our administration really looks closely at working with that program to better serve our students. Again, they give stipends to increase teacher pay. They give intense PD to not just classroom teachers, but also administrators. And it's a national program that's been tested throughout the country, whether it be in Chicago, Detroit, Westwood Heights, Mississippi Delta, Los Angeles. So they know what they're doing. And I think it doesn't come to a cost to the district, and I think we should pursue that, or at least be more serious about that partnership. Number 2, I had the opportunity to kind of have like a coffee and conversations at the Brennan Community Center. For those who don't know, that is a senior center directly attached to Stewart School on the south side. Number one, it's really a tale of two cities. The center is beautiful inside and out. About a month ago, maybe a bit more, I had got a call from the senior citizen director who was upset about not just the property being blighted and attracting all kinds of unsavory behaviors, but just, just the constant graffiti on their side. So I met with her, she talked to me for about an hour. I made a commitment to work on a short, medium, and long-term solution. The short-term solution was to get the blight removed. So we had, I believe it's called the Flint Art Project, cover the blight with the mural. Looks great. The medium solution is to better secure the property, but the longer-term solution is to demolish it or get it redeveloped or leased or sold. These senior citizens are scared to come into their center because of the constant activity directly adjacent to Stewart School, which is actually attached to the property by a land bridge. Number two, these folks have been involved in this community for decades. They have not only grandchildren, but great-grandchildren who attend Flint community schools. And to be completely candid, they have kids who don't, because they're thinking in their head, why would I send my child to this district when the only thing I see from them is this property? Now, we all know that we're doing great things in our schools, right? When it comes to hiring some good teachers and staff, the renovations and investments we're making at Brownell Homes and other districts, at Potter, you name it. But unfortunately, until we address this in a comprehensive issue, as opposed to piecemeal, this property, that property, the community is not going to see us for what we're doing, which is better serving students than other charter schools, other districts. And whether that be a perception that's based in fact or not, it is an issue when you drive past these properties throughout the city every day, when you just don't want to be around them, where they reduce your neighborhood value, your property taxes, you name it. So I would just really, really push I've been saying this for 2 years, and it's getting old, but I'm going to say it again until we address it. We have to have a comprehensive solution to these vacant properties. It's no secret we worked really hard to get money in the state budget towards capital improvements, and that money can be matched. But if we don't act now, really, it should have been later, we're not going to have that opportunity. We had that conversation back there, but I really want to keep us focused on this because time kills all deals. It can kill opportunities, but it can also give us a chance to really reinvigorate this community, which in the end will allow us to better serve students. So I'll leave it at that. I could talk all night about it, but thank you.
Are there any more comments received?
This is the last comments.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Trustee Luna, I really appreciate your comments, and I'm very encouraged moving forward with the direction that this board is taking, and the level of congeniality and cooperation that we are achieving. So I agree with most of what you have said. I am listening, and I have not just from this meeting and from what you have said and what Mr. Gilbert has said, that Stewart seems to be definitely high on the list of people's concerns for a number of reasons. So I would like to see us pursue that, to see what we can do about these vacant properties and these deteriorated properties. So I just wanted to say that I am not opposed to that. It just seems to be, there's like a misnomer out there that I'm just against, getting rid of any property or fixing anything. That's not the case. I have always advocated for partnerships and moving forward in a collaborative, constructive way. And with that in mind, I was very encouraged with Communities First sponsored a community candor conversation between Mr. Glenn Wilson and Ridgway White. And I think that we are moving forward in a positive direction, and I did approach Mr. White because one of our our last conversations had been fraught with tension. Let's just put it that way. And so I do want to reach out to people because he mentioned taking criticism constructively, and I do think that if you get to know my mannerisms and the way that I am, I do it in the spirit of positivity and moving forward. The criticism is constructive, and I do believe in talking about things even that are hard conversations. And so I'm excited with the work of Communities First and with the Mott Foundation, especially with the way that they are acting as good stewards in partnership with the Flint schools, with Dr. Tunnicliffe, with GISD, with the MDE. I think we're finally making some headway, and I'd like to see it continuing forward in that. We're not there yet. We definitely have a lot of work to do, but I did want to say that there have been a lot of positive meetings, community conversations, get-togethers, that kind of thing, and we're working hard to promote that. I do want to say just really briefly, not to be really negative, but this election campaign with school board members in Mott Park, there was a very negative sign that was posted against one of the candidates, and I am dismayed and shocked and appalled, and I just want to state in the strongest terms that kind of campaigning, I don't care who you are as a candidate, there is no place for that kind of negativity, and you're a coward for putting something out there. And we don't have, this is not what our community is about. We're about connecting, and I support both of the candidates. As far as I know, there are 2 candidates running. If there are more, I apologize. And like I said, I'm just shocked, and I just wanted to state, as a board member, that is just shameful, and it was in my neighborhood. And so I would like whoever did that to come forward and to own that, because it's a cowardly move, and we don't need that. They can do that in city council. I don't, but there's no place for that on the board.
Madam Chair.
So thank you for, I didn't want to end that on I should have maybe flipped it around and ended on the positive, but thank you very much, and I appreciate the board and the administration.
Trustee Rutherford?
Yes, in listening to Trustee Luna talk about steward, I do recall, and thank you, Vice President Clack, for helping me, Southside City of Hope has came before this board numerous times, and to be fair, I would ask that we as a board allow them to do a presentation that they have asked us to do countless time, instead of them being on a 3-minute limitation as it relates to Stewart. I think that's only fair. They've came before us several times, so I would just ask that they be contacted and be able to present to us their ideas and their thoughts. I know they shared it, but I don't recall everything that they wanted to do. Along with that, we just got to do better as a district. We can't get everything that we want, and sometimes you just got to pause. That, Mr. Jones, that what you sent today, maybe we just need to pause. I know we're rambunctious and we want want to do a lot of things, but sometimes you gotta pace yourself so that you won't make a mistake. And it just seems like in individuals' desire to win, we're losing, because as a district we have to go back and repair or fix or adjust. If we just take our time, talk about it like we agreed to as a board, so that we can make good decisions the first time. Superintendent Jones, I applaud you because you always have to have a paradigm shift every 45 days. Something just falls completely apart, which is out of your control. But when better decisions are made, a lot of that could be avoided. So that's my comment.
Are there any more comments?
Madam Chair?
Proceed.
I just have two quick things. First thing, as it pertains to vacant properties, as we discussed, I look forward to us having that retreat. Not just about vacant properties, it's big picture planning for our district. There's a lot of goals, there's a lot of ideas we have. Just having that conversation to talk about it, right? Like each of us bring a lot to the table and have a lot of visioning for the district. And I think it's important for us during that retreat time, when we do, just talk about it. Just talk about it. Let's decide where we're going, and then just do better, like we're doing. The second thing I want to say is, I've been on this board for about getting close to 2 years. I really want to commend us. We went from chaos to conversation to actually doing our part. I think it's important. I've been talking about how what we say across the microphone is important, about what we say and how we say it. Seeing how we are elected officials representing our community in different spaces all together. I believe we've done well. We still have some work to do, as we still disagree, right? No one says we're supposed to disagree, but how we've been disagreeing has been civil. It's been better for the years compared to the years it's been. I just want to commend us. In our community deserves to see our elected officials to behave and act in a certain way and professionalism. And we've been doing that. I want to make sure I say that to my colleagues. It's been a long time coming. But as we are elected officials in our community and leaders, we've been trying to do the best we can. And, I appreciate my Board of Education, my colleagues, for even just hearing me out most of the time when I get on the nerves, but still keeping it civil with me, having just good debate, but just making sure we stay on the same page. And I really want to make sure I commend my colleagues for that. Thank you.
Mr. Clay.
I would like to second what Trustee King just stated. Also, I would like to give a shout out to Southwestern and the staff for a successful homecoming. I missed this is the first meeting since the homecoming, right? Right. I had a ball. I really did. Shout out to the staff, all the students. Everybody looked nice. Everybody had fun. Also, I would like to, if we can, did we give a moment of silence for Councilman Murphy?
Oh, no, we didn't.
Can we give a moment of silence for Councilman Murphy? If we can do that for a second.
Sure.
Okay, that's pretty much all I have.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah, thank you, Board President. Just want to first say Happy Bosses Day to all of you. Found that out about an hour ago. So happy Bosses Day to you. And I want to commend also all of our principals. This is Principal Appreciation Month. And if you get a chance, board members, to see any principals, just let them know that we appreciate them for all of their hard work and efforts. There's efforts across the district that Ms. Fields, myself, and also other principals are showing up, giving some appreciation to all the principals. So just wanted to say that out loud and make sure the principals know we appreciate their work and their efforts. And so with that, that's all we have for now. And we do have a special finance cow on Friday at 4:00 p.m. at the administration building.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. And I just want to say that can't say anything better than what Trustee King just spoken of as relates to a board. We're getting closer to our retreat. My understanding that we don't have to pay for it. I hear the voices as relates to Stewart School. I listened very close to Cheryl Thompson as part of this project, and I really think that we should put this as the front burner when we start to be having those conversations. There's a lot on the table and a lot that we should be doing because our board members leaving from doing regular administrative duty into planning. And with this planning, in these planning, we really need to understand zoning. MSU is offering a course where you can get your certification. You can get certified in planning and zoning. You can take it online or you can go to Saginaw. I have sent out the, I believe I sent it out to everybody. Pam sent it out. I'm going to do mine online. I don't think I want, and it's a very good certificate to have as we go into our retreat. And a lot of time I run into different ideas. We need to start looking at demolition lobbies and to move forward with this district. So it's a lot on the table. It's a lot that we have to do. I'm not going to hold up nobody else's time, but I do want to put that out there, that this retreat is going to be like no other retreat because you're going to be working with all your partners. And you might have to work with people you don't like, so it's just best to go to some of these community meetings so you can get to talk to them. The next thing is our announcement. The Board of Education will hold its next meeting on Wednesday, November the 19th at 6:30 p.m. here at ALA. Seeing no further business of the board, I declare the regular board meeting adjourned at 7:42.
Sorry, y'all, I got to break out. I can't help clean up today.
That's okay.